I got to say, the Jedi have returned.
This video shows the fan reaction of the 1983 release of The Return of the Jedi, and I want you to notice the major difference in atmosphere between the fandom that you get to see in this recording and the fandom that you get to see if you go anywhere on the internet right now. Because in the recording, all you're going to get to see are some virgins with smiling faces that are really excited about the movie, and they're talking about the story of the movie. And this is what the corporate bastards at Disney and their shills within the entertainment media have robbed from us.
Just fanatics out here waiting on Return of the Jedi. 3 years in the making. We've been waiting for this.
Uh-oh. It seems that Ethan Van Sciver lied to me. He told me that this was a movie for boys, but I see a lot of diversity in the crowd. I see a lot of women. I see a lot of smiling faces, as I mentioned before.
Some people don't idolize Darth Vader like I do. See, I want him to get Luke.
Oh wow, unbelievable. Everyone is talking about the movie. No one is talking about identity politics. No one is talking about, oh yes, but the representation that Princess Leia had is very important because the women feel represented and it's empowering and it gives people strength. And oh, did you see the pronouns in the bio that the actress had? And oh, did you check out Mark Hamill's very interesting opinions and his hot takes? And oh, but this other actor, he said something else and we need to get him fired. Make sure that he will never work in a Star Wars project ever again. None of that. Literally, none of that. It's just like, okay, the movie was cool. This is what excited me. Oh, it was such a great movie. I like this part and I like the other part. And then this asshole appears.
Big surprise was seeing Darth Vader unveil himself to his son.
My God, what an asshole. Just dropping the big spoilers on national television. But to be honest, that was kind of common back then. I mean, if you were to watch a trailer of a movie back then, they kind of spoiled the entire plot and all of the scenes. I'm not kidding. Just go on Google and watch for any trailer for the 80s or even, I guess, like the 90s. They did that. They would spoil the entire movie in the trailer. So I kind of get where this guy is coming from. But then again, the hair that he chose makes me kind of think that he might have been trolling a little bit.
The biggest surprise? Well, I don't want to give it away to anybody.
Look at this rich and vibrant diversity. How did people manage to be rich and diverse without the guidance from publications like The Guardian back then? Without the Polygons and the Kotakus lecturing other people about their behavior? How did so many women manage to get into that crowd? Didn't they know that the journalists will later point out that that was a boys-only club? How is this happening? How are so many people gathering around in order to enjoy a movie without the wisdom and the guidance from the journalist class in order to lecture them about the oppression that they're going to face by being in the fandom? Because if The Guardian is anything to go by, the Star Wars fandom, before Disney took over, was a boiling pot of toxicity. And they were ostracizing minorities and women. But luckily, through the vision of the mouse, they introduced Rey, which made Star Wars become a feminist blockbuster. And for the first time ever in human history, more women flocked to the cinema. And it was so many women there. It was beautiful. And a tear dripped on the journalist's cheek. Maybe what I'm watching here is just fake history. Maybe what I'm watching here, it didn't really happen. It's just some crisis actors doing the enactment. Because I can't believe my eyes. Like, I was always told that, no, like, Star Wars is very toxic. And until the mouse came and became progressive. By the way, go on any Star Wars forum that you want, whether it is Facebook, whether it is IGN, whether it is some Reddit board, and say something negative about Rey. See how people react. And if that's not toxicity, then I don't know how is. How do I even know what's going to happen before you actually do it? Because I'm telling you, you're going to do it. And once you did it, you're going to be like, oh my God, how did this Romanian know that people are going to be such vile individuals towards myself for expressing just a banal opinion that I did not like Rey from Star Wars. How did the Romanian know? And not to mention, look at what is being discussed right now in the Star Wars community. See how much of the story and the plot is being discussed. See how much people enjoy the movies. I bet that wherever you go, it's going to be about Gina Carano right now. It's like, Gina Carano, do you know her opinions about COVID? But do you know her opinions about masking up? Did you see what she said about the pronouns? Oh, the pronouns in the bio, did she use them? Did she put she, her? No, she put beep, boop. She is very disrespectful. She is horrible towards the transgender community. She is soliciting from harm. And as you're scratching your head, you're like, well, what the fuck does this have to do with Star Wars?
Surprise was to see all of them together at the end playing Pinochle and having a great time. I wished I was there, and I'm going to try to get a part of the next movie.
But this is what the corporate bastards have took from us. This is why no one wants to talk about the movies anymore. Because the movies are mediocre to bad. And the reason they are mediocre to bad is because they are not artistic. And you can say whatever you want about art, but I have a feeling that art which comes from the passion, art which comes from the soul, art which comes from the struggle of the artist to express himself towards the world, is going to be much better and more enjoyable than art which is created by committee. Art which is created by a corporation like a Frankenstein monster, where various people just create various body parts and then they pray that it all can fit together nicely. And this is the cancer right here. This is how Disney does it. They take a whiteboard and then they write things down before creating the story. It's multiple people that take part in the creation. And they are completely disconnected from the fandom. Because I'm guaranteeing to you that the people who were there initially and they were talking about the movie didn't go in order to see the diversity. Didn't go in order to see the representation. They went there in order to see a good story. Which, incidentally, also had diversity and representation. But they were not on the high priority list when George Lucas created the original movies. However, Disney does think that they should be on the high priority list. Like, for them, diversity is actually more important than relatable characters. Because even they understand that representation and relatable characters are two different things. I can relate to a black person that's struggling to get by in an impoverished neighborhood, because I have been poor as well. I can't relate, however, with a billionaire white person, because I can't have that lifestyle. I don't know how it is like to be that wealthy. So representation, aka because it has the same skin color as mine, therefore, is not the same as a relatable character, as a personality, an archetype, which I have seen in real life and I can relate to. And for them, important plot aspects such as the Force, Sith, Empire, Chaos Agents, the things that actually make Star Wars, are not as important as commercial garbage things like dinosaurs, relic hunters, and droids. Now, these things are also important, don't get me wrong, but they should be at the bottom of the list, if at all. These are the things that should be on the top of the list. So here you have the reason on why Star Wars sucks. It's because, number one, they create a Frankenstein monster, where they bring different writers without some vision in order to just force create some bullshit. And they do not understand the fandom. And then they use the journalist arm, which at this point is just a PR extension of Disney, in order to antagonize the fandom even more, in order to create division in the fandom. Instead of the fandom pitching ideas and talking about the plot and the story, you now have people talking about the actor's character. You now have people talking about politics such as LGBT, transgenderism, and other things that have jack shit to do with Star Wars. And you know what? They're not even going to sell your shit. Talking about pronouns in the bio isn't going to sell more toys, Disney, now is it? But it is what it is. And unfortunately, until this culture changes, I highly doubt we're going to get a new Star Wars movie, or any good movie for that matter.